Hi, this is Ayanna with Black Atheists of America. Welcome to our 14th session of The Bible Actually Says. In this series, we discuss the Bible. We move through the Bible as it should be read, cover to cover. Today, I have with me Ray, who is also a member of Black Atheists of America. While we will not be reading every verse, we may choose to quote the Bible. If so, just know that we will be using the King James Version. We will start by recapping last week's show, then pick up where we ended off, and go through as many verses as time permits. I hope you enjoy the discussion. Please feel free to comment and subscribe. So last week we had a new character. Abram and his wife had a son, Ishmael, via their slave Hagar, which was kind of an interesting situation. His wife Sarah kind of said, why don't you have a baby by her? And then once he did do it, Sarah got she got jealous and decided, I guess, that it was a bad situation. God also decided to expand Abraham's territory, and introduces this need for circumcision of all men that are born thereafter. So we are on Genesis 17, and we're going to start with chapter 13. With verse 13. And it says, "He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man, child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant." Here we go again.
Now, if that's not the silliest thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, that just makes no sense at all.
No, it doesn't. And again, I keep saying the same thing. It's every single chapter that we read. No explanation is given.
Yeah, and if you go back, you'll notice that the child gets circumcised at age 8. 8 days, that is. And a child can't circumcise himself, so he would be punished for something that his elders didn't take care of.
Yeah, but that's completely in character with how God decides to punish. I mean, he's done this time and time again.
He punished all of mankind for something that Adam did? No, Eve.
Well, something that he blames Eve for, but Adam and Eve were both guilty of it. I mean, because remember, the instructions were given to Adam, not to Eve. So I don't even know if Eve did something.
Yeah, but Eve is a woman. so she deserved it.
A woman made by God.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
And God said unto Abraham, "As for Sarah, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarah, but Sarah shall her name be." And all he does here is spell it different. He changes the I to an H.
Yeah, he's trying to make himself feel important.
Why should anybody recognize that? I mean, in town.
Now she can, maybe she has a graphic tee on. My name is Sarah with an H now. I think, this is the same issue. God is just, he's irrelevant, really. I mean, every time he doesn't come through. He says he's going to do things. He doesn't do them, or he gives like this crappy deal, and, he just wants to feel important. That's what this is about. He changed Abram to Abraham, and now Sarah is Sarah. So it's just giving him something to do. So Abraham's probably like, whatever.
Yeah, he don't care.
"And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yeah, I will bless her. And she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her." So now Sarah's going to be able to have kids after she was forced to give her slave to her husband because her husband wouldn't shut up for 10 years about wanting freaking kids.
Yeah, so now God finally comes around.
Late, as always. You know that saying, he may not come when you want him, but he's always right on time?
Yeah, right on time, late.
Yeah,
and then Abram fell on his face and laughed, can't blame him for that, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? Shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear? And Adam said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
So Abraham is like, why the heck are you going to force Sarah to have a kid at 90?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hard, ain't it?
Even Abraham is seeing the problem with this.
Yeah, he's rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah, at God.
Yeah. And why does God get to name all these?
I don't know.
I guess it's his story.
I guess, but, you would think you're making a 90-year-old woman have a kid. At minimum, you would think you at least give her the privilege of naming this object coming out of her.
And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him. How did he bless him? I don't remember that.
Again, with this word, bless.
I guess it just means anything you wanted to mean,
At the time, yeah.
At the time. And will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
This again seems very painful to the wife or wives. I don't know if he's only going to have one or many. God seems to be inconsistent in that nature. But 12? Gosh.
He seems inconsistent.
And that's only the prince. Like, that's only the men. What about the women that he is going to be a father to?
Who cares about the women?
But the point is, somebody has to bear that child, whether you care about him or not.
Yeah, well, God doesn't care about women. I mean, he's going to have a 90-year-old lady have a baby.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
And a 100-year-old man be the father.
Yeah, but at least the father doesn't have to carry it around and deliver it and all of that. I mean, the lady's 90 years old.
And we're on verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
Somebody is going to have to keep track of all these covenants. He doesn't have an accountant. He has no lawyer. He has no file cabinet.
It's not even that. He has no memory. That too, but he also has no memory. I mean, remember...
Well, there's a good reason why he has no memory.
What, the drugs?
The drugs. He's got the 3-year-old thing going now. I mean, he's eyeballing. Of course he has no memory.
Verse 22. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as God has said unto him.
How in the world could that happen? I mean, we already know that he had at least 316 people that he got from the Pharaoh, plus the people that he stole from the war, plus the people that were, I guess, born there. So, what has he got, like a factory or something going?
This seems like the most inhumane.
He's got a blood house.
It's like a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, slaughterhouse.
I'm just waiting, because if all of this foreskin ends up in a altar for God, I want to know what they're doing with the foreskin.
Yeah. God probably has some kind of
I
plan
am
for it.
like, ugh, it's just disgusting.
And Abram was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin.
Gosh, you would think if a man can make it to 99 years old with his foreskin, I mean, gosh, I want any reason whatsoever to be given for why this man needed to part with his foreskin. This is the dumbest process ever.
This is horrible. This is terrible. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the self-same day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
So it was a family event. A big family and
party, circumcised party.
A circumcision party. That's hilarious. Anyway, we're on to chapter 18, and we kind of switch gears here. Verse 1. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant.
Does he know who these people are?
It doesn't say.
Well, it does say that 3 people showed up.
So yeah. I don't know who these men are.
Yeah, these are 3 strangers that just showed up.
At his house, basically.
At his house, and he's bowing and all kinds of stuff and talking about servants. And let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. So I guess he could see that they were tired and had dirty feet.
Yeah.
And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant, and they say, So do, as thou hast said. So they're like, okay, God, get it done. These are strange guys that show up to your house.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, okay, get to work here. Who are these people?
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently they were just strangers.
I thought so. He looked up, he saw 3 men, and was like, oh, let me do everything in my power to make you happy, which is odd. I mean, he didn't do this for the Pharaoh.
He sure wouldn't.
He just robbed them.
I know. He wouldn't do too good in New York.
And they said unto him, Where is Sarah, thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. I wonder why they're asking for Sarah.
How do they know he's married to Sarah?
Well, didn't he go in the tent and say unto her to hurry up and make some meals for them? So maybe he mentioned her name during that. I don't know. And we are on chapter 18 and on verse 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which she was behind him. So Sarah heard what he was saying.
Oh, so she's just like eavesdropping on the comments. Well, I guess I would too.
Yeah. Well, she's always screwed over. So, you know, maybe
you can't blame her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they treat her I mean, she is like the worst treated woman in this whole story. And she does nothing to deserve it.
Nothing at all. We're on verse 11.
Now Abram and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being also old? And the Lord said unto Abraham, What the hell is this? The Lord said, wait a minute, Sarah's doing the talking, so the Lord just turns around and talks to Abraham? What kind of nonsense is this?
Maybe this is one of those things when, where the head of the household is the only one to that can speak directly to God.
Yeah. And the Lord said unto Abram, who wasn't talking to him, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
So he still didn't even address her question. She's like, during my lifetime, am I going to experience anything good, basically? And God's like, you're going to have a child.
Yeah, and she's doing her best not to laugh in his face.
Yeah.
She's like holding you back.
And the funniest part about this is that God acts like he actually does something. I mean, it says, is anything too hard for the Lord? Like, what the hell have you done? You're not. I mean, all of the work is done by Sarah. Sarah has been pimped out this entire story and gets nothing in return. And you're like, oh, well, is anything too hard for me? You're not. It's laughable. Anyway, we're turning to verse 15. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh. This is interesting because just last chapter, Abraham fell on the ground laughing at the Lord. And look how Sarah kind of has to tiptoe around this. And she laughed to herself. So that just goes to show how unfair God is.
He's terrible.
It's horrible. So we're on verse 16. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. So we still don't know who these people are that he's running around.
No, it's just a couple of strangers that showed up. But they seem to be a lot more important than his wife.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder if he robbed them. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
Now, see, this is crazy. Now, the Lord is saying, maybe I should do this and not tell Abraham about this. I mean, the only thing the Lord has to fear from Abraham is that Abraham is going to stop cooking up his dope.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only thing he has over him. And yet the Lord is scared. Now, this all-powerful, made the universe thing kind of guy is worried that Abraham might see disfavor in what he's doing. So he's saying, well, maybe I should hide this. Maybe not let him know about this.
So we're on verse 19. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him.
So God is like talking to nobody here, right?
He still has his boyfriend to talk to.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he was gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we learned that way back in Genesis early.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. Well, this goes into him not being omniscient, number one. And number two, they better watch out, because they're does this not remind you of the time leading up to Noah's Ark?
Yeah, this is a duplicate of that.
Yeah.
The thing I don't get is, how come he didn't know about this before? How come he has to come down to find out? This is like when he had to come down to see the tower.
Yeah. Yeah. How come he can't? Where is heaven? Like, where is it positioned where he can't see anything that seems to be going on?
Right. He's got these windows that's got water in them or something, and then he has to come down. This is a ridiculous story. It's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, we're on verse 22.
And men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
Now he's asking, Abraham is getting kind of bold. I think because he knows he has that type of power with the whole drug situation going on.
Yeah.
Because he's questioning his work. First he's like, wait, come on, you're going to make a 90-year-old woman have a baby? Now he's like, wait, you're going to destroy the good and the bad people for...
He's coming just a hair shy of saying, are you out of your mind?
Well, he already laughed at him while falling. He fell on his face.
I know, but you got to be careful because you got to remember that God is Abraham's only client.
Yeah, but he still knows that he has some type of power over him.
But who is he going to sell this stuff to? I mean, Abraham is
Abraham is rich.
That's true.
He doesn't need to sell anything else. Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Man!
Yeah, I know.
He is questioning, like, dude.
Yeah.
Do you not have some type of justice system in place?
Yeah. He wants to say, are you out of your flipping mind?
Yeah. Gosh.
And verse 26 says, And the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, I will spare all the place for their sake. And Abraham answered and said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure, there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, Peradventure, there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. So basically they're having this dialogue back and forth. I think Abraham is trying to find God's limits, if you will. Like, all right, why would you destroy a city? Like, how many years is it going to take for you to destroy a city? So basically saying, if there's 50 great people in the city, then yeah, I'm not going to destroy it. If there's 45 good people and 5 bad, well, then I'm not going to. So now we're down to 40 and 10 bad, and he says, I'm not going to destroy it. Yeah, he's for 40. He's like bargaining with him. Right. But I think he's trying to make God, he's basically forcing God to set guidelines, or to explain the guidelines, not necessarily set them. Well, he's trying to make God use logic. Yeah. Which he hasn't been doing through this whole book. Go Abraham for, bringing it to his attention that he's just not right. So now we're on verse 30. And he said unto him, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure, there shall be 30 found there. And he said, I will not do it, if I find 30 there. So basically now we're at 30-20. 30 good people in the city, 20 bad people in the city. He's still not going to destroy the city. This is a far cry from the whole Noah story where he just kind of obliterated everything. Yeah, wiped out the whole earth. Yeah. So now we are, where are we? Verse 31. And he said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure, 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
So I think the Lord is lying here, but whatever. Because now we're in the minority. Like, now we're in a situation where the so-called righteous individuals are in the minority. And he's saying, oh, no, I won't destroy the town for 40 bad people and 10 good people.
Yeah, if he can find them.
Yeah. So he's full of crap.
Of course he is, because this whole thing makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was omniscient, can omniscient being bargain? Because here's a guy bargaining.
Right.
I mean, he has to think and consider whether 10 people or 20 people is enough. He would already know these things. There would be no bargaining.
Right.
If he was omniscient. So he cannot be omniscient. As a matter, but he can be an idiot.
Yeah. that he can be. So the last verse says, and the Lord went his way, as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. I kind of like Abraham's starting to grow on me.
Well, yeah, he did say some pretty cool things. I mean, he may have saved some lives in the city.
I think he did, to be honest. Or he at least prolonged their life.
Well, you got to remember, Abraham also knows that his brother Lot lives in Sodom, so he might be a little concerned about him blowing up that city anyway.
Yeah, but I guess I like the fact that he's starting to make God not explain, but at least set some type of boundaries or explain his boundaries.
Well, that brings us to the close of another Bible session. And what did we learn today? Well, I've learned something very important. If you're an 80-year-old woman and you don't want to go through the pain of a pregnancy, don't laugh at God. This is Ray signing off.
And this is Ayanna with Black Atheists of America. Please feel free to comment and subscribe. Thank you for listening.